Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8? Question mark? I've lost count. Is that good or
Sure.
bad?
Sure.
Episode 8
Episode 8
of
sounds great,
Get the
Alex.
Flick Out of Here, the Father's Day special episode, because
Ugh.
I have decided unilaterally, but Kate agreed, that we should start doing special holiday themed episodes of Get the Flick Out of Here, starting with Father's Day. And then we'll
Yes,
do
we should.
something patriotic and goofy for we haven't decided yet which one it's going to be. It'll be patriotic and probably also goofy. But we haven't decided which movie or show yet for 4th of July. I don't know what the hell we're going to do for August. We'll figure it out, and then we'll probably do some. We'll find something that's we'll move further on. I can't wait for the Halloween episode. That'll be a lot of fun because it'll be impossible to figure out something to do that's not scary because Kate
I can't
watch
do horror.
movies.
And it's not even like I can't do it. It's like, no, I can't do it.
Can't. How about Spooky Buddies?
Yeah, we can do that.
Spooky Buddies. It's the
Airbuds buddies.
Airbuds kids, but this time it's Halloween, so we'll do Spooky Buddies. We're planning. This is what's called in the business long-term storytelling. We're planning way out into the. Kate, how the hell are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was just fine. I am in several homes at the moment because my apartment's getting worked on. So
fun times.
I am currently at my parents' place, but they were in New York watching my sister's dog while she was away. So I had this big old house to myself, and I spent most of it binge watching stuff that we won't talk about. I spent most of it binge watching Schitt's Creek and Grace and Frankie, which is tremendous if you haven't seen it already. I would very much recommend it. Very delicately.
My parents watch Grace and Frankie.
It's very good. Like, it's probably the first thing since Golden Girls to, I think, really, like, in a empathetic and compassionate way, take on, like, aging issues without it being like a haha, you're old thing. Like, it's really, really nice. And I'll tell you what, that's not what we're talking about today is not something that I would describe as tastefully making any sort of societal statements at all.
No. Yeah. Here's a little trip behind the curtain for all of those who wonder, how do they pick what they're going to watch? Well, around Sunday, I realized we haven't picked out what we're going to watch, and we record these on Tuesday night. And I am not free at all on Monday evenings because I have to watch a terrible wrestling show and then talk about it.
And then on Tuesday, we both have to watch a terrible wrestling show and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And so Sunday night is basically my last opportunity to watch whatever we're going to talk about on Tuesday. So if we haven't figured out what the hell we're going to talk about by Tuesday afternoon, I'm like, Kate, what the hell are we talking about? But this time, Kate, I think it was Saturday that I figured this out.
This was the most beautiful organic selection we've ever had, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I turned on the iPad to the streaming thing from my cable service, and it was like, what's trending now? And it was just said Double Daddy on Lifetime, and I was like, click. I just wanted to know what the hell it was, and turns out to be the very end of the movie.
And Alex, it's trending now. And what year did it come out?
2015.
2015.
But it was the Lifetime was doing a Father's Day weekend marathon of everything having to do with dads, right? So so this one, I watched the last 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and I was like, I want to do the entire show this week about the last 15 minutes of this terrible Lifetime movie. Because I watched the last 15 minutes having no idea of the context of anything. And I was like, let's do it. And I was like, I wish this was streaming somewhere because it's not available on demand on my cable service. So I wish it was streaming somewhere. Turns out it was. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime Video and you'd like to follow along, you can push pause on this, go watch this terrible movie this last 85 minutes, and then come back and watch us dissect it. But it's a Father's Day episode. It's Double Daddy, and it is about.
Can I read the description?
Read the thing.
Okay, so when something is on Lifetime or the Hallmark Channel, Alex and I both love Christmas very much. One thing that I love about Christmas is the terrible movies that get made around that season, and the descriptions of them are incredible. And I was like, well, that must be true for all Lifetime movies, especially the ones that are like dramatic like this. And I'm in love with their copywriters for trying so hard to make it sound important. So this movie, in their words are that Amanda's life is turned upside down when her boyfriend impregnates both her and a new student at school. Though Connor does everything he can for both his teen moms, hell hath no fury like 2 women scorned.
Yeah.
Which how many women scorned is the most fury that hell doesn't even pale in comparison to? Is it all the women that are if all the women are scorned? Because I would imagine if hell hath no fury, like 1 woman scorned, 2 would be double that amount
scorned.
of fury. Yeah, and then so on and so forth of the scorned women.
Right. So I watched this movie again, having zero context. And then I went back, the last 50 minutes of the movie. And then I went back and I actually watched it. I watched the whole thing. And I really wish that I had just left it at watching the last 15 minutes with zero context, because it's so much better. The last 15 minutes of the loudly
when you messaged me and said, oh, it was so much better without the context.
All that silly context mucking everything up.
Ruined everything. Sign of a great movie.
Yeah. The last 15 minutes, if you do not know what has happened in the film prior to that, are bonkers. Just bonkers. And they're really not that much better with the context, but without the context, everything is ridiculous. Here's what I will say. We're gonna go through this whole thing, and then when I get to the point where I start talking about the last 15 minutes, I will have to figure out what is different without the context. Now, the opening of the movie is very interesting because it shows from the point of view, it shows a faceless woman in a slinky red dress walking around a very well-appointed home. She opens up a curio cabinet and fondles a Fabergé egg. And then she runs her fingers lovingly over some jewelry. And we find out later, this is where she decides to run her scam because she realizes how rich the kid is who lives here. But for a while I was like, is she a jewel thief? Is that what we're going to get to? That this is part of her thing, is stealing from houses that she goes into? And for a while, I was like, I think the twist is going to be that she's actually 26, and is one of those people who shows up at high school, but she's not actually high school aged. But no, she's actually high school aged. Anyway, we meet Connor. This is his house. Connor and all of the other boys in the show. It's 2015. Remember, they have what I like to call Disney Channel hair. Just perfectly coiffed off to the side at weird angles. His best friend has these swoopy bangs, not yours. His bangs are terrible.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Fall Out Boy bangs.
Anyway, people are doing beer bong hits off the deck to the floor below, and Connor is just blasted out of his gourd.
As one is. And at the parties.
Yes, there you go. At the high school party. And he calls his girlfriend, who is a camp counselor for the summer, Molly. No, Molly. Molly's the name of Amanda. Amanda's the name of the character. Molly's the woman who plays her. And she said, what's going on there? It says loud. Oh, you know how it is. I invited a few guys over to watch the game, and word got out. there are 75 people in his house. So like word really got out.
Never has anyone been like, hey, we're going to watch the game, and it escalated as much as this did.
No. Yeah.
Somebody was false advertising somewhere in this picture. It
reminds me of like the high school parties you only see in movies.
Yeah.
Like Teen Wolf had a bunch of those. The original one with Michael J. Fox, great movie. A lot of those giant parties. American Pie was just mostly
flyers.
Yeah.
Like to these parties, which
Yes.
is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Like even in an era of cell phones and like landlines.
Yeah.
Like 10 things I hate about you.
Do you remember Facebook invites? That was a thing. That was when I was going to parties. That was a big thing. Did you get the Facebook invite? There's a party on Friday. But yeah, no. But anyway, he's like, we're out of beer. I'm gonna go make a beer run. I was like, he's not getting in the car, is he? No, he's going to the beer fridge in the garage. And this girl follows him there. Slinky red dress girl. Her name is Heather. She follows him there. Now,
sexual egg toucher, Heather.
Sexual Fabergé fondler.
Yes.
The
Fabergé. That's a whole other Lifetime movie.
Yeah, it is. So here's the first funny gag, and I really hope they did this. He gets a big, like 30 pack of cans of beer. And she takes one from him. She's very, hey, you, you're not supposed to be the drunkest one here because you're the party host. Ha 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 ha. She takes one of the, and she everything is very like sexual and everything. She takes the can, she opens up, she sucks off she takes the top, whatever.
Okay, were you also notice, like dying for him to be like, I just wanted to watch the game?
Yeah.
I would have loved it if he had been like, I didn't plan this party, but here the fuck I am.
Yeah. He is carrying this 30 pack of beer, and I swear to God, did you notice? Because I noticed these kind of things. Did you notice the brand name of the beer?
No, and I normally would notice something like that too.
You only see it upside down, because of the way that he's holding the beer, the case of beer.
Is it like, I swear to God,
I swear to God, it says beer kern, which is just the Swedish chef saying beer can. It's a beer kern. Can you pass me that beer kern? Bork, bork, bork. Derpy derp.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's very funny.
That's fantastic.
So she gets into they're in the garage. She gets into his dad's Mercedes. Like, hey, show me what all these buttons do.
How do you car?
She basically says,
How do you car?
How do you car?
I don't know. Are the secrets inside my red slinky dress?
Why don't you take it off and find out?
How do you even, what is that? Do you even engine?
Hey, why don't you shift your stick over here?
Hey!
She entices him to get in the car. He sits in the passenger seat, and then she mounts him, and they have sex. Like, it's just like boom, done thing. So it's basically like rape, because he's too drunk to consent. So that's awesome. I don't know if it was rape in 2015. It's definitely rape now. So that was weird. But it was like, hey, you know what? Shouldn't have gotten drunk. It's just a very
that's
weird,
on you.
It's a very weird thing. But so he knows that he's screwed up immediately when he wakes up. You know, like he's like, this is bad. But anyway, she's the new girl in school. She just moved there. She's gonna have senior year at this new high school. Just, like, nobody even knows how she got an invite, except for like maybe the best friend is an idiot and invited her. And then Amanda comes back, and it's immediately like Heather is all weird at school, and Amanda's like, "Who the hell is she?" She's like, "I don't know.
I don't know.
I got my hair's had a little must. I'm not really sure."
That guy definitely was in an acapella group at one point. Like, that hair is acapella hair.
So I don't want to go into every detail of this thing, but everyone is like, there's a Facebook, Instagram knockoff thing called, I don't think it's got a face space or something.
Instagram, yeah,
Whatever the hell it is, that she's posting on, and she posts that she posts with with her conclusive positive pregnancy test.
Yep.
Takes a lot of selfies with him. At one point, she bites it, and she's like, it was very odd. Didn't you pee on that? But
yeah, gross.
Yeah.
Hygiene's cool. Slinky red dress girl.
Yeah. And anyway, we find out Amanda is also late, and they do a really interesting thing here, I think, and it's all very telling about who they want you to root for and identify with. We show basically like sober Heather completely taking advantage of, drunk off his ass, Connor, and being very, very sexual about it when she really didn't even need to. Like, she's not seducing him. He has no idea what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
You don't need to be as sex, like, oh my God, my car, can you fix it? Yeah. Look, you better look under the hood. Like, you don't need to do that. But they make her do that. And crucially, we never see any sexuality between Connor and Amanda. Never. They kiss a couple of times and hold hands. We never see anything sexual between them, because we're supposed to be like, oh, well, she's the pure one, and it was just an accident. And they were like, we're supposed to be like, oh, that's a real pregnancy. This other one was like this, like, it's just so like, I guarantee you this situation must happen all the time, especially in high school, with people who aren't being safe and nobody knows what the hell they're doing anymore. But
I also, like, it was around this point that I was like, oh, they're going to pit these girls against each other, and it's not going to be between him and either of them. Like, this is going to be good pregnancy, bad pregnancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially
That was like,
so we start finding out more things about Heather. She lives aggressively on the wrong side of the tracks.
Right.
Her mom has left 4 years ago. Her dad is perpetually drunk and also out of work. She has no money, but fantastic clothes.
Yes.
And makeup out the wazoo, because she's always done up. Her hair is always perfect. She's got great jewelry. Maybe she does steal things from people's parties. I don't know.
Could be.
But they never show that. But she's really,
just such a Heather.
Oh, she's such a Heather.
Like, the perfect name.
Her
best name
dad,
since Gia from from Full House, I would say. Yeah.
Her dad is like this. Like, let's cast the scumbaggiest scumbag ever, and then make him up into even more of a scumbag. Like, the wig he is wearing, is like crimped. I don't know why his hair is crimped, but he's wearing it in a ponytail, and it's like way back, and it's got down his face. He's got 17 chains around his neck. I don't know why, and he wears something leather as an outerwear in every scene, including one scene where the outerwear that is leather is a leather vest over a white tank top. He's wears like
kind of a leather daddy, but like also trash.
Like he was in a biker gang at one point in the late 90s.
Yeah, and
still uses that aesthetic, but he's definitely not in a biker gang anymore. But I don't know how, like, so you're supposed to be like, oh, she's poor. And I think they're trying to do a thing of like, listen, some of this that is wrong with Heather is her circumstances.
Right.
But by the end, they come down very firmly on, nah, bitch is just crazy. And we probably shouldn't be like, so I'm like, why did you spend that whole first act though, trying to like get us to be like, building up as like, oh, poor Heather, she really is just trying to find any way out of her circumstances that she possibly can. Maybe there's a gray area there. No, there's definitely not. Yeah. There's definitely not.
Maybe we were supposed to be like, this is how she got that way.
Right.
But
so
agreed.
Yeah, it becomes a thing that Amanda is pregnant. by Connor. And also, so is Heather. That's the whole point of Double Daddy. Connor,
because Alex, hell hath no fury.
Right. Connor also soccer star. Soccer star, very crucially, not a football player. That'd be a little dangerous, a little too aggressive. Soccer, he's very lithe. He gets to run around shirtless in his little tiny shorts.
Yeah, and like friendlier.
Friendly, yeah. Like, hey, I'm just kicking this ball. What are my hands doing? I don't know. I'm not sure what my hands are doing. I'm really sure. But I'm not allowed to use them. But it's whatever.
I like the idea of him being on a soccer field narrating that. Though. What are my hands doing? I don't know.
Don't know. You don't know. All I know is they're not touching the ball because that's illegal. And I'm a good boy, and I'm not
good. I follow the rules.
I
can't even spell red card.
This I don't think it's the actor's fault. Some of the dialogue is really bad, but this guy is just generic, like second runner-up prom king type of dude.
Yes.
Like he's just, he
would be a suitor on the courtship if you watched our first episode.
Oh my god.
Like the most vanilla.
Yes.
Average Joe.
But he's so ill-equipped to deal with this. He would have been really ill-equipped if like the girlfriend Amanda that he's been with for 2 years was like, oops, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have known how to do with that.
He has never faced adversity in his life. This guy.
Not ever, not once. There is a scene earlier at some point in the movie. I don't think it has to deal with the pregnancy, but there's a point where we also get to meet throughout the movie Amanda's parents. They're aggressively middle class. Like the mom is a nurse. I don't know what the dad does, but like they're middle class. And then Connor's parents are wealthy. And they draw a very different distinction. The mom, Diane, Connor's mom, is the worst character in the entire show. When I say worst character, I mean like on a morality scale, she is bottomed out. She's a terrible person.
And this includes a woman who basically raped a man. So
yeah, and also committed murder. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
alert. But the Diane is just always drunk on red wine. Constantly got a red wine buzz going on. Mm-hmm. At 9 a.m. And then the dad who's a Republican state senator, basically. Like, yes. Like not really, but he basically is.
But like he is.
And he's but he also a very high-powered businessman. But there's a point where they talk about how you've got your whole future planned, Connor. Going to school in the fall. And he says something like Wittenberg or Whiterton. It's Whiterton. It's got to be Whiterton. That's the only place that Connor would go to is the school called Whiterton. Yeah. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm going to say it's Whiterton. So you're going to Whiterton in the fall. Whiterton, the best school for all white boys.
His dream school was Whitiston, but couldn't get into that, could he?
His safety school was Whiterton. But yeah, they're not great people. But we also meet Kelly, who is Amanda's much older sister. And Kelly keeps having miscarriages, and she's trying to have a family with her husband Greg, who is the most milquetoast dude in the world. I'm pretty sure the reason you can't get pregnant is your husband is a eunuch. Like he's just his little tiny glasses and his greased up hair parted to the wrong side. He's got no lines in the entire movie. He's just okay. Oh man, I
wanted to beat him up.
I was like, who is this guy? Why is this the person that you think that Kelly is married to? I don't understand whatever. But we find out about her latest miscarriage as Amanda is like, oh crap, I'm pregnant. And like, oh, this is like a Greek tragedy thing. I don't want to be pregnant, and yet I am. And my sister wants to be pregnant, and yet cannot. It's like, oh, the fates are so cruel. But it's this is where we also in the scene later we hear about when the parents find out. I think they find literature, a pamphlet about teen pregnancy and you or whatever, hidden under some dirty laundry in Amanda's bedroom, and they confront her, and she comes.
Nobody in a Lifetime movie has ever properly hid anything. Bodies, pamphlets, whatever. It reminded me of the movie in the turned musical Waitress. The lead character is trying to stash money, and she hides it in her couch. And I'm like, well, of course he's gonna find it there. Like, it's the couch. Like, yeah, he spends half his life on there, and he's gonna reach for the remote in the crack of the couch at one point. Like, yeah, you gotta like get better about your hiding places, especially you teens. Come on,
yeah.
Mix it in with your biology homework. They won't be looking there.
The life lessons from the Get the Flick Out of Here podcast.
Thank you.
So the more you know. We provide a service here on the show.
We do.
It's this. Teens, get better at hiding your teen pregnancy literature, otherwise your mom's gonna find it.
And don't like your pregnancy tests, you weirdos.
Don't. That's weird. Weird. So during that scene where they confront her, the dad is really angry because the dads are going to be angry, and the mom's trying to be more understanding. And I think the subject of abortion is dealt with so delicately through this whole thing of like, it's an option, but we dare not speak its name. Like, it's this weird thing that they, whatever.
They know their demographic at Lifetime.
Yes, they definitely do.
Is like probably not super into the idea of abortion, but they also want to acknowledge it.
Yes.
It's why we get like one same-sex Christmas movie or whatever. Right. It's the same same thing of like
yeah. So I'm keeping the baby, says Amanda. And like her mom's like, never once did I suggest that you would not keep the baby.
Yeah.
Now, I got pregnant with your father when I was 19. Another day goes by. That I don't think I made the right choice in keeping your sister. And I'm like, oh, that's why there's the big age difference. Okay, cool. Hey, you justified it. Sounds great.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. But of course, the evil people, Connor's parents, are super pro-abortion. You're just gonna go and take it taken care of, right?
Yes, we'll
chomping
throw,
on a big fat
money
cigar.
at the problem.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. It was very funny. But all of this comes down to like Heather versus Amanda. Who's gonna get like there's a big scene where Amanda reveals she's pregnant to the entire school by having a shouting match with Heather, because Amanda goes on the face space or whatever, and she looks up Heather and finds a shirt that says Birkin High, and so she looks up Birkin High and finds their yearbook. She's a big sleuth, and their oddest couple was her and some other kid, and then a comment written on the yearbook, I guess online. Do they have online yearbooks now? I'm very old. They didn't have online when I was in high school, but they have somebody's like unhappiest baby daddy ever, LOL, smiley winky face. So like, oh, she's tried this before, she's a liar. I was like, oh, is that the twist? That she's not actually pregnant? No, it's not the twist. She's actually pregnant. Is it a twist that she actually got knocked up by somebody else? No, they do a paternity test later, Turns out, no, he is actually the father. There's a random dude who looks much older, named Trent, who hangs around. Apparently, he's the ex-boyfriend. Not the guy who she fake got knocked up by at the other high school. A different dude named Trent who just comes around looking for money, but she doesn't have any money. Like, that's the whole point of this. And eventually he decides, I'm running this thing kind of out of order, but I want to get to this point, which is that here we'll do this one. Connor's mom travels to Heather's house and meets Heather's dad, and oh boy, is this a clash of styles. And she hands him a cashier's check for $100,000. Says this should take care of whatever the child needs for the next 7 or 8 years. And here, sign this to whatever, and then she just leaves, trusting that he'll give it to his child. And that dude has never pieced out of anywhere faster in his life. He took that cashier's check and he bounced.
Bolted.
Just left. And the best part about it is, that's what I love. He has a cashier's check for $100,000, and that house has nothing in it. It has a couple of bottles of Jack Daniels and nothing else. But the way that Heather knows that her dad has left is she walks in the house and goes, "Dad?" Like, there's stuff that he's somehow taken with him. What would he have taken with him? He has one outfit. He only wears one outfit. He doesn't have anything. In
her defense, he probably doesn't leave the house very much.
That might be true as well. But so she goes and she talks to Diane, and it's like, it looks like Heather's dad has left. And Connor's like, "You paid him off? Why would you do that? That doesn't make, like, don't do that." And so now you have to take care of me. I'm alone. I've got nobody. And so she moves in.
The next logical step.
For
people that have all the money in the world. Like, that woman could have just turned around and been like, "Oh, here's your check for $100,000 because I also just have that sitting in the bank."
Can you cancel that? Can you cancel that check? Can you void that check?
I don't know if you can with I'll give them that. I think a cashier's check you're pretty much screwed on. But
that sucks because that's fraud. Like, maybe you can't void the check, but you could involve the authorities, couldn't you?
I would think so. I feel like there's some.
That's a giant loose end with this whole thing. Like, oops, he's got the check. I guess we'll never see him again. And
I'm not even gonna try.
I feel like these are people who definitely don't pay their taxes. They're not just kissing $100,000 goodbye.
Goodbye, yeah.
That's not a thing. But of course, Amanda has been growing more and more back together with Connor. She really hated him because, he knocked up a different girl.
Of course.
But they've been hanging out some more, and maybe they're kissy. I don't know. But now Heather gets to move in. So therefore, Amanda hates Connor now. But Connor didn't do any of this. This is none of Connor's doing. His mom did this and all this stuff. And then, of course, Heather decides to sneak into Connor's bed at night and take a selfie and post that on the face space, which just causes more problems. That old face space. It's the social medias, man.
They're getting their social medias with no context, completely distorted. Like perceptions of reality.
There are so many this high school drama moments of this. There's one point where, oh no, Amanda's got morning sickness, and she runs into the girls' bathroom and gets on all fours to puke, which I feel like there's no high school bathroom where that's a good idea.
No. There were a lot of things in this that felt like South Park would present this as a comedy with like how tropey the tropes were. Like, I feel like a lot of the best parts of South Park are like how quickly and genuinely they identify like the most exaggerated tropes. I felt like I was like, oh, this is definitely like a comedy in South Park.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
And a horrendous drama here.
Yes. Oh yes. Um, we started getting more and more ideas about how not okay Heather is.
Yeah,
Like
she's unhinged.
she's unhinged. She's losing it because she keeps like writing like doing fake plays with unseen other scene partners where she's like, oh yes, it's me, Mrs. Heather Walker. That's me. I'm Mrs. Heather Walker. And Ryan, I think it's Ryan is what she decides to say. For a while it was Braden, and then she changed it to Ryan.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's what she's gonna change. She's gonna name the baby. But she does not. I cannot stress this enough. She does not know Connor.
Correct.
She met him, realized he was rich, and purposely
trapped him. Yeah.
Trapped him.
Got pregnant off of their one sexual encounter.
There is a different movie within this framework where Connor and Amanda were a thing for a while, but they had a fight about something stupid, and Amanda says maybe it's just time that we like see other people, and they go like we'll take the summer. Okay, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna do my camp counselor thing. You're gonna stay here and do whatever you're gonna do, but just, you know what, we're not together while we're gone. Okay, and it's Amanda who says this. That's very crucial. So that while he's like working, he wouldn't work. He's this kid, but like he meets some girl
soccer camp
over the summer. Yeah, he's at soccer camp, whatever. He meets some other girl over the summer, and they date, and he gets her pregnant accidentally, and realizes while he's with her, something's off with this girl, and they break up. And then he finds out afterwards he got her pregnant. And then Amanda shows up, and they're back together again because he broke it off with this girl. And she comes to him when she's 3 months pregnant and says, "You knocked me up." Meanwhile, Amanda is a month pregnant, and now he's like, "Oh crap." Because this is why the whole thing is Heather keeps saying, we're supposed to be together. It's meant to be you and me together and our baby. And they have no history together. If Heather and him, like, if he had like broke it off with one and went with the other one, and they came, like, if he was dating, if he had history with both these women, it would make a lot more sense. But I don't think they really want it to make sense. But I feel like that's a crucial part of the storytelling that just gets lost in this thing is she becomes crazy because she feels like she has an attachment to a guy who she met and then immediately got knocked up by on purpose. As opposed to, we were dating for 3 months. I fell in love with you because we're 17.
Right.
You got me pregnant. And now you're back together with your old girlfriend who you also got knocked up. Like if both Heather and Amanda had reasons to feel like, no, I'm the one you cheated on. Like that would actually create real drama, but they don't want that.
I also was like, I don't know. Like, isn't anybody concerned? Obviously, we see what happens, but like, it was pretty obvious that you should be concerned about her mental health and the babies as this was going along.
Yes.
Like nobody, you have $1 kajillion. Like send her maybe to a good psychiatrist.
And she's also like she's going to school.
Yes.
Like Heather is going to school. And like she's in everyone's in the same class. It is a very large suburban California high school. They're all in the same class.
Yes.
Of course. With one teacher. There's only one teacher who works at that school. Mrs. Wolk, who was Anne-Marie Newman, is the actress who plays her. She was on A Living Color at some point.
Yes.
And she's not at all funny in this show. Not asked to be funny. But is there a guidance counselor? Does anybody? She is obviously manifesting the signs of being maybe borderline personality disorder or something.
She's not well.
She's not
obvious.
Well.
Yeah.
And I feel like somebody would be asking, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because it's common knowledge among everyone, the staff and students at this high school, that you are pregnant.
Yeah, and even just like pregnancy hormones, you think someone would be paying any special attention to her?
That would be a thing, I would think. that the people who run a high school will be trained on how to deal with, because that's a big deal. And people, like, there's a lot of, like, there's suicidal ideation among girls who get pregnant, and like, oh my God, I ruined my life. What am I going to do? All this kind of thing. Like, there's
like, she has deadbeat parents, one who left.
Yeah.
Like, why would she even bother to keep going to high school is, like, also an interesting thing to me. Like,
yes.
It just, like, in life, pregnant or not, like, it didn't seem like education was the priority.
She did not get into Whiterton.
No way.
No, she did not get into Whiterton. She wouldn't even get into Whiterton State. Like, she couldn't even get into state. You know,
no, she couldn't get into Whiterton State.
No. So
honestly, not even Whiterton Community College.
No. WCC they call it.
Yes.
No, can't go to the WCC. She's gonna do all of her like core credits there, and they're gonna transfer to the big university
to Whiterton State. Yeah.
It never actually happens. Nobody ever actually transfers their credits. They just drop out.
No.
So this is all coming down to the fact that she freaks out because her parents, like his parents, go on vacation and leave Connor and Heather like at the house together. And she's like, "Hey, sleepyhead, I made you ham and eggs." Like, and it is a lovingly crafted breakfast that she has made. I do not believe for one second that Heather knows how to make like restaurant quality breakfast.
No, this was artisan.
Yeah. She's got garnishes. She's like she
found the spices.
And he's like, "What are you talking about? What time is it? I slept in." And so he leaves and goes away, and he goes to meet Amanda at Lamaze class. And of course, Heather follows. She's pissed about him being ungrateful about the breakfast, so she follows him in the dad's Mercedes to Lamaze class. But before she does that, Trent shows up. Remember Trent?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Oh, you do. People watching might not, because they're not actually watching this movie. Trent shows up and he's like, "So I see what scam you're running. You're going to give me part of whatever you're getting from them. Otherwise, I'm going to make life really uncomfortable for you here." And so she takes a wrench. By the way, this is a full-on pipe-fitting wrench that in no way does this dad have in his garage.
No way.
This dad is not a handyman type of dad.
Correct.
This dad like calls out for that kind of surface. But she takes a pipe-fitting wrench and she hits Trent over the back of the head with it, and then bashes his brains in while he's lying there, and somehow drags him to the brand new. This is crucial. They mention it again that the Mercedes is brand new, and she puts him in the trunk by herself. A man who is twice her size, literal dead weight.
Yes.
Puts him in the trunk.
The deadest of weight.
Drives with him in the trunk to her old house, to the house that she used to live in with her dad. She drags him into the crawl space under the house and buries some loose soil, like kind of over his corpse.
So
then
bad
gets
at murder.
Then gets back. Again, teens, learn how to hide things better.
Oh my God, dead bodies, teen pregnancy pamphlets. Yes. Like, come on, Google it. You have every resource. Your generation has every resource. It's in your pocket.
Hold on. How to hide dead body.
Hey Siri.
There you go. Send. So she then gets back in the car, and I don't know how she knows where to go. Like, did she put a GPS tracker on Connor's car? How does she know where he went? I don't know. But he drives there. She drives there and she sees through the window them being all lovey-dovey in Lamaze class, and she loses her friggin' mind. I guess she already lost it.
Will do that.
Post-murder hormones. The pregnancy hormones are bad, but post-murder hormones.
Post-murder? You throw that in the mix?
Don't want that.
So cranky.
Yeah. So anyway, she gets really mad, and so I think this is where she decides she's going to murder Amanda, because when she follows them in Connor's car, and then this is where Amanda tells Connor she's thought about it. Oh, by the way, I should mention, when they tell Kelly that Amanda is pregnant, Kelly is the worst big sister ever. She's like, "You bitch, you got pregnant on purpose just to rub it in my face."
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I can understand her being a little upset. But the fates are cruel. Amanda's not the one that's cruel. The fates, they are cruel.
She super wasn't like, "Oh, dope, let me sign up for this situation."
Yeah. Anyway, Amanda realizes, hey, maybe it's not the best thing for like you to be running back and forth between two moms and two kids. Let's give up the baby for adoption to my older sister and her nebbishy eunuch husband. And Connor's like, well, if that's what you want to do, it's okay, whatever, it's fine. I don't mind. I'm just gonna play soccer.
It's more money to put towards my Depp hair gel. Yeah.
And so then that's when she gets out of the car. Heather tries to run her down in the street and misses, and then drives back home. And then as she parks the car, Diane is there. It's like, how dare you take Peter's car? And then she like freaks out and says, if you come near me or my baby again, Diane, you're going to be sorry. And then she throws a fruit bowl on the ground.
A devastating move.
Yeah. And the grapes like bounce everywhere in slow motion. It's the most artful shot in the entire movie. And then the grapes, like, I guess that's supposed to be like, this is where the shit hits the fan, the grapes hit the floor.
That was in the bowl is now on the ground.
And so this is where Diane tells Connor, look, like she grabbed me and bruised me, and there's grapes all over the floor.
And also
she's
blood.
Crazy. I don't want her here.
On her hands.
Yes. And Connor like, get out of my house. You're the worst. I hate you so much. And so they put her up in this tiny little one-room apartment because she is carrying his baby, and they're not abandoning her entirely. They were willing to give her $100,000, but now they're just going to put her up in this tiny little apartment. I feel like you got to get that money back from deadbeat dad. You got to get that money back, and then give her the money for real, so she can go the hell away.
Yeah.
And I feel like that
impression I got was they had millions, so just give her a different $100,000.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Figure out what assets you need to liquefy. Sell some of your stocks.
Yeah.
And give her some money.
Embezzle the campaign donations.
Right. Exactly. So this is where we are now approaching where I came in the first time.
What a place to come in.
Going on the field trip. Okay. This is a high school senior. They're going to a field trip. We're going to be in a wilderness area all day. Make sure you bring your signed permission slips.
Oh my God. Teens who are bad at hiding stuff.
Yeah.
Go into the wilderness. No. Like the reverse of hiding stuff. First of all, if you need to hide stuff, the wilderness, great place to do it. Yeah. Also, if you're a teen and you're just going to the wilderness, it doesn't end well for you. Look at any horror movie. Yeah. Look at situations like this. The wilderness, not great for the adolescents.
No. Never looks at Hansel and Gretel. Terrible.
Oh, worked out real bad for them.
Super worked dead. Out. Yeah. Actually, the witch is super dead. Actually, they came out okay.
That's true.
But they had to commit murder. They had some serious PTSD. Yeah. They couldn't look at a candy bar for the rest of their lives without going into shock.
Someone tried to cook them. So
not worth it. Not worth it. I mean, you have to give up Snickers. Not worth it.
Yeah, just go to a populated campsite. That's all I'm saying.
Here we go. So, if our riff on Hansel and Gretel is done, we'll move on. So anyway,
it's never It's done, but it's never complete.
So, they're going on. Heather shows up, and Heather is in labor. This is a crucial detail I was not aware of at the time because I'm not watching this part. I haven't seen this part yet. I'll tell you exactly what frame it is that I actually came in the first time I watched it. But right now,
also just like so important to go on field trips when you are close enough to giving birth that you're in labor. Like very important. You're still on a field trip.
Yeah. She's not due for 6 weeks, but probably the stress of having planned a premeditated murder.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
As someone who pet what?
Yeah. Early, I think the night before, we see her eating fruit with a knife, like cutting up an apple and eating it in bed in her tiny apartment. So, so at least she's getting the right amount of roughage. That's good for her and the baby. Good fiber, but realize that knife comes crucially in handy because she decided to kill somebody with that knife. So as she gets on the bus, she starts having contractions. They get on the bus, they drive to wherever the hell this is. All right, we're going to split up into 2 groups, says the teacher. Group A, you're going to go to the whatever it is, the center where they talk about stuff, and group B, you're going to go into the woods and see all these huts. It's just weird. Like, I'm not really sure exactly what they were studying or seeing on this field trip, but there are huts in the woods and also a center, a visitor center or something. And so Heather and Amanda are in group B, and they have to go in the woods. And Connor's in group A. And I know for a fact nobody gives a shit which group you are in. Connor absolutely would have asked his dopey friend, hey, switch groups with me so I can be with Amanda. And dopey friend would have been like, cool, that's awesome. My way too hot for me girlfriend, because she's way too hot for him, is in group A, so I'll switch with you. That would have happened. Absolutely would have happened. But Connor's like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you after. And Amanda's like, yeah, okay, fine. And so they go. And then Heather has another contraction as they walk into the woods. And this is where I came in, Kate.
This is crucial for you to know. This is about where the YouTube trailer is as well. Because I was like, let me check out the trailer for what Alex is about to make me watch. It kind of comes in here, which is fantastic.
Yeah. That's great. So there's these 2 random extras, these 2 boys who are like, hey, come on. And they go into one of the huts. Establishing the huts, you can walk into the huts, right?
Yes.
And then Amanda goes to hey, Mrs. Wolk, I have to go to the bathroom. When you're pregnant, it happens.
Leaning on that bladder.
You're peeing for 2. And
you
so
are.
And so she's like, okay, so there's a bathroom back at the visitor center. Can you make it on your own? Yeah, I think I can. Okay, stay on the path. She says, stay on the path. And immediately Amanda gets off the path. She's walking through like low-hanging branches and stuff. She's not on any kind of path.
There's no path.
She's literally got a map of all of the paths, and she is on none of them. She has decided, I'm just going to venture through the wilderness. And we see that Heather has followed her, right? And then she stands there. This again, I am watching all of this part with no context. I don't know which one of them is the evil one. I'm assuming it's the one with the knife, but I don't know. She could be like the righteous one pushed to her limit. I don't know. I don't know why they're in the wilderness. I don't know any of this.
Did you know the name yet?
Of Double Daddy?
Yeah.
Yes, I knew Double Daddy.
Okay.
So I assumed that the concerned young man in the visitor center was the Double Daddy in question. Sure. But I did not know. I'm just piecing all this together just from watching this. And then so stay on the path, and she's just brushing all the branches away from her face as she walks further into this thicket. Like you're moving away from any path, I guarantee you.
First rule about path is like find something that looks like a path and head toward it. You know what I mean?
The camera The camera focuses on Amanda and then moves slightly, and you can see behind her standing like she's in a horror movie. Feet firmly planted together, like arms rigid at her side, head kind of cocked, is Heather. It's like, hello, Amanda. Heather, what are you even doing here? I'm just following you, making sure you're okay. And so they walk past each other. Like, you're ruining everything. You're ruining everything. Connor and I are supposed to be together. His family only put me in that apartment so that we'll have a place to raise the baby together. It's like, and Amanda just tells her off, like, he never would have slept with you if he had been sober. He doesn't love you. He said so himself. I hope this plan of yours worked because your father left you. Everyone who ever cared about you left you. Nobody cares about you. Now I hope you like living in your little one-room apartment because you'll be living there by yourself with a baby to take care of. I hope you're happy. And then she's like, I'm like, well, maybe she is the bad one. Maybe that is actually the one who I'm supposed to be rooting against.
It's not nice.
Because that was
definitely
a really
not
mean
nice
and pointed
behavior.
thing to say. And then Heather's like, pulls out the knife, and I'm like, oh, no, it's this one. You stupid, spoiled little bitch. And then Amanda just takes off running. We assume with Heather in hot pursuit, but because Heather was 3 feet away from Amanda when Amanda started running, I don't know why Heather gave her a 100-yard head start, but she did. Around this time, we see Connor talking to Miss Wolk in the visitor center. Says, hey, did Amanda come back? No, she said she'd come back. We're here to use the restroom. She didn't come back? I haven't seen her. Oh, no. And he runs off into the woods to go and rescue her. So we see Amanda running, and she comes to the end of a ravine. She has gone so far off the path, she has come to a ravine, a chasm within the earth. And she stops dead, turns around, and is immediately speared like Roman Reigns, like Goldberg spears her off.
It's a good spear.
It was a good spear. She put her shoulder into it and everything.
Yeah.
And spears her right off the edge, and they both topple. They fall 20 feet down into this chasm. I'm like, oh, both of them now lost the baby. Like, that's what I like. Is that can't be the end of the story? Is the end of the story that they both lose the baby? Is that the happy ending we're gonna get? No.
Could you mention Connor just like, oh,
hey,
sweet.
Both of you can fuck off. I'm out. I'm going to Whiterton.
I was gonna say, I'm taking my mom's money. I'm going to St. Bart's for a summer. I'm taking a gap year, and then I'm going right back to Whiterton.
Whiterton. Gap year. I'm gonna knock up so many girls in St. Bart's, but it doesn't matter because they'll never know my real name.
Spell condom.
I can't spell condom, and I have the highest sperm count of anybody on the soccer team. So here we go, is that they both come to, they're very groggy. They probably both have concussions. And Heather comes to, realizes that Amanda's laying next to her, can't find her knife anywhere, I guess, and grabs a rock, like a big, heavy rock. And she's already done this to one person, by the way. She used a wrench to crush in the skull of her ex-boyfriend. So now she's going to use a rock to...
Who nobody cares is missing.
No, nobody. No, he has no friends either.
No.
Reported missing by nobody. So she kicks a rock. Her MO as a serial killer now is blunt force trauma with found objects. This is why the cops have such a hard time tracking her, is because they're not really sure. There's no real pattern. Yes, they're blunt force trauma murders, but one with a wrench, one with like Mr. Policeman. I gave you all the clues. No, it's not true. So as she's about to crush in Amanda's skull, she has another labor pain. And Amanda gets up and runs away. And then Heather
pregnant, goes, just thrown off a ravine.
Yeah.
Runs away.
And Heather goes, Amanda, the baby's coming. You have to help me. And Amanda's like, okay. She goes back and she expertly delivers this baby.
Yeah.
Expertly. She says, she's like,
that's
okay.
what got her into Whiterton Med.
Yeah. Pre-med, let's be honest.
Pre-med.
Really, she's going to change her major. She's not
6 times.
Forward. Yeah. She says, Heather, okay, Heather, you got to push. No, I don't want her. It's like, Heather, do you want to have this baby? Yes. Then you have to push. And all of Heather's labor is, I'm going to get 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
She's in labor for 2.5 minutes, which is usually not the way it works. Usually the first one is the longest. And so, I mean, it happens. Occasionally somebody have a short labor. This was fast. This baby is supposed to be 6 weeks premature. Seems fine. It is covered in soggy cornflakes. I don't know why they did this, but the afterbirth that they used was very obviously soggy cornflakes that they just attached to the baby's scalp. And I'm not really sure why they did that. But Connor runs up into this ravine because he's been hearing the sounds of Heather screaming out in pain because she's in labor. So he follows the screams and he runs up and he finds Amanda holding Heather's baby. And then Heather looks over at Connor and says, Connor, it's here. Our baby is here, Connor. Smash cut. That's the end of the scene. 1 month later, and it's Amanda and Connor lovingly cradling their own baby in the hospital. And I was like, wait a minute, you yada-yada'd over a whole bunch here. Is that baby the first the ravine baby? Is the ravine baby okay?
Yeah.
Did Heather die of blood loss? Like what has happened? What's going on? Did they ever find Trent's body? I did not know whether or not they were going to do any of this. Although, here's the deal. I didn't know there was a Trent at this point.
Right, of course.
Very crucial. I did not know there was a Trent. So, we see a woman. Long brunette hair. And for a second, I was like, is that Heather? Is Heather coming to visit Connor and Amanda in the hospital? Because I'd never seen Kelly before. I did not know who this was. And she stops and she visits and she sits and she watches Connor and Amanda with the baby, very tearful. We love you both very much, and that's why we want to give you to a place. And then Kelly walks up and says, no, it should be your baby. You should keep the baby. It should be yours. She's obviously, look at that nose. She looks just like you. It's your baby. I'm like, this is like, was she a surrogate for somebody? Or no, she decided to give up the baby to adopt to this random woman. I've never seen the random woman come into the delivery room and be like, you know what? Go ahead and keep it. I mean, me and my husband have paid thousands and thousands of dollars to adopt this baby. But now that I see how happy you are, go ahead and keep it. I'll figure something out. She actually says, I still have time. It's not over for me. But I did not know, again, at all, that this was her sister. Because they look nothing alike.
No.
They could not look less alike. And then all these middle-aged people come in. And one of the middle-aged people is holding a different baby. I'm like, that must be Ravine Baby. It's good to see Ravine Baby is doing all right. And then they take a bunch of pictures, and they all seem to be very, very happy. I was like, oh, look, it's so nice that these in-laws are so in such great spirits. They're obviously very good friends. Obviously, the friends of the parents of Connor and the parents of Amanda have been friends for years. And that's how Amanda and Connor know each other, because their friends, their parents all went to college together at Whiterton. And that makes perfect sense. I did not know, of course, at any point that I didn't even mention, there's a huge scene earlier where like the parents are yelling at each other about which child is more to blame for the surprise pregnancy. Like it's like, and the like Amanda says, like, I think we're leaving. I've had just about enough of this. I am a used car salesman or something like that. I have a very good, nice white collar. I work at an office. I deliver TPS reports on time. I am a middle-aged, middle-class man, and I will not stand for this. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Big time stuff. But anyway, I did not know anything about that, and I still didn't know at all. Like, are all these people friends with the lady was going to adopt this child? Because again, she looks 20 years older than Amanda. So I didn't know any of this, but it's all a happy ending. I'm like, this is crazy. Wait, because the next scene is Heather in jail, being talked to by her public defender. It's like, and this is the thing. I didn't actually, the first time I watched this, I did not clock the second baby that came in with Diane. I didn't see it. I didn't know where the baby was. So, very crucially, the lawyer says to Heather, "We found Trent's body buried under your dad's house." Did she kill the baby? Did she kill the baby and bury it under her house? And this is where I was like, this is bonkers. I got to know everything about this.
Especially in such a short time. Like, it was such a short time.
That was crazy. But no, it's Trent. She's like, if you take the plea, maybe you'll get out in 25 years. If not, it's life in prison. And she says, whatever, I'll take the plea. Hey, can you leave the room so I can use your phone? Actually says, can I have some water? And the public defender, who hates her, obviously, leaves. And she snatches his phone, signs into FaceSpace, and starts posting selfies of herself. Yeah, it's Orange is the New Black, the selfie album. And she says that she's a picture of Connor and the baby, and she says, don't worry, we'll all be together soon. And I was like, is she gonna break out of jail? Is that Double Daddy 2, where she breaks out of jail and goes and tries to murder? Then they've been waiting a long time for this sequel. Is there
blame it on COVID? Do it. Oh, sorry, we were in production. It got delayed. I don't care. Do it right now. Sorry.
Just the idea of chasing one pregnant girl with a knife, chasing another pregnant girl through the forest, spearing her into a ravine, and then trying to murder her with a rock, having zero context of what the hell's going on.
Oh my God.
I was like, I gotta watch the rest of this movie. And then I immediately regretted watching the rest of this movie.
Mm-hmm. This is a tough one because, like, was I entertained? Yeah. Was it for the right reasons? Not at all. So when it comes to it, and we'll get there, the question of would I get the flick out of here? It complicates things.
Oh, it does. I love a movie that I can watch because it is so bad.
And I'm sorry to the people in it. The acting was terrible. The writing was terrible. The plot was terrible. There's nothing that wasn't horrendous.
It would have been nice if there was anything remotely interesting about Connor, besides the fact that he's going on a full ride to Whiterton.
That's not even
on a soccer scholarship.
Because, of course he is. You know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah, I guess that's do you recall one personality trait of Connor?
He is the Toyota Camry of people. He's just a golden retriever of a high school boy. He's always happy to be there, and just so the pumpkin spice latte of people, just the most basic model of a human and character. Not a single layer to this dad of two.
Yeah, it would have helped a lot if there was anything about him.
Yeah, he didn't even really seem stressed in this movie. Like, you got two kids coming, and he was
gently perturbed Like,
he was very inconvenienced by the impending children.
Even when like the crazy girl who obviously entrapped him, like threatened to like murder his mom. He was like, you should probably leave. I don't really like you here.
Could you calm down?
You go. We got you an apartment. It's got a microwave on top of a table in the bedroom. Also, the bedroom is also the living room. Also, the living room is also the bathroom. It's a really good apartment because it's in LA. Yeah, so that's it's a very bad movie, but it's one you can watch and marvel at how bad it is.
Yes.
There's a place for those movies.
There is. But here's the thing. It's not Christmas time.
No.
It's not the holiday season.
No.
I prefer my movies that are poorly acted, poorly written, with a bad plot to be holiday themed. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, and because we tend to keep the flick in, I'm going to say get the flick out of here. Get the flick out of
here. Get the flick out of here. I'm happy that we did it because like I thought to myself, there's a genre we have to tackle, which is really bad Lifetime movies. Mm-hmm. Like we have to tackle that genre. What a perfect way to also fold that into our now recurring episodes, which is the holiday specials. The first one is Father's Day. The next one will be for 4th of July. Not sure what we're going to do for that one yet. We've decided, although we are going to do Spooky Buddies for Halloween.
Yes.
Because it's the only Halloween-themed movie.
So to clarify, next week, no idea. October, Spooky Buddies. Spooky Buddies. Nailed it.
Perfect. Kate, where can they find you? I'm assuming you'll be watching many Lifetime movies.
Oh, of course. You can find me watching many Lifetime movies, but you can also find me at Miss Kate Fave on TikTok and Katestagrams on the Instagram.
You can find me on the Twitter at Alex Sourgraps. I'm not sure exactly what we'll pick for the patriotic film. It'll be something definitely worth your time watching us talk about and our derision, so we can decide whether or not we can say happy birthday America, get the flick out of here.
RESPECT. Click the subscribe button and find out what it means to me. Nah, that doesn't have a ring to it. But if you like videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, subscribe now.